Oh, absolutely. No, this was, I mean, performing at the Newport Jazz Festival carries a weight to it, and I mean, this is the first of the great American jazz festivals, and George Wein is the man who founded it, and um, I mean, no, it was absolutely extraordinary when I was invited, and being invited from him personally, you know, we were having lunch in his Upper East Side apartment, and you know, kind of had a very, it was a very direct kind of human connection, and I really it just had such a great conversation with him. We met up a couple of times, and just found him to be such a warm and honest and really beautiful human being, and I really appreciated. He had some very specific things to say to me about, because he'd heard my music, and he had very intelligent comments about what he was hearing, and he's an icon in the jazz world, and so for me to to be sitting with him first of all, and then to have this invitation to not only perform, but then to perform a new work. He said, "We want to commission you to write a new piece." So this was, like an incredible honor, and I don't think any jazz festival in the world, for me, would hold this kind of weight. The legacy of this festival, and Ellington and Monk, and all the great people and the great recordings that have come out of this festival. It's extraordinary. So absolutely, it's an incredible honor to be here. I think the festivals in general provide an opportunity. I mean, there's so much happening musically in one place, it's concentrated into a very short amount of time, and so hopefully it allows audience to become exposed to new artists and new strands of music that they might have not been exposed to. I mean, several people today came up to me, and they had not heard my work before, but this was like a new opening, and maybe you see other names that you recognize, and you end up going to see. So that element is important. I think somehow it's also somehow rewarding and encouraging in a way to be in the company of so many great musicians in one place. I mean, as a musician living and working in New York City, I mean, sometimes the only time I ever meet my colleagues are at these festivals. I mean, we live some of them 3 blocks away from me, and just can't make time for lunch or for because everyone's so busy. And then you have like a day or two at a festival here or in Europe, and you can actually like hang out, and you can actually catch up on each other's lives. So it has that element for us, as musicians. But I think it's important, especially with jazz, given where it is in terms of the overall market sales and stuff. It's not it's not anywhere near. I don't want to say it's near the top. It's like in the lower couple of percentage points. But I think that when we're all in one place, and it kind of gives us a sense of encouragement to endure forward. But performing at festivals is a challenge in some ways, because there's your audience is fluid. They might stay for a tune and then they leave. You can't can't be offended if someone's going to get up because that Wayne's playing next door. Or, it's like obviously, but you don't have a captive audience for an hour or an hour and a half or an hour and 15 or whatever. So if you're constructing a whole set, you kind of have to consider each song or each tune to be its own microcosm and kind of complete in its own way. Because sometimes I compose even with my albums, and albums are another challenge too, because people buy a track, download a track on iTunes, or they have it on shuffle on their iPod, so that they don't really. But I mean, I conceive of things in large segments, whole work. So, the second piece is building to something that's happening in the seventh piece, and there might be a theme that starts here and it comes back. So, you can have those elements, but you also have to have each kind of composition needs to be a complete form in and of itself, and that's a challenge for me. But at the same time, there's an energy. There's something about playing outdoors that I always get a thrill. I always get a charge. I don't know what it is, but it's just. And there's a bit of a more. I don't want to say reckless abandon. We'll say abandon that the musicians play with. I feel that you playing and stuff is going out into the atmosphere. It's not contained. So there's a freedom that I feel as a performer, and I feel it in my group too. That's just kind of, you know, going for it and throwing caution to the wind and jumping right in, making stuff happen rather than, you're not as careful about, you know, is that note gonna work? Is this, you know, it's a liberating experience. Amir ElSaffar.